I have a daughter, a handicapped daughter. She's 64 now, of course, so that makes me getting on a bit, so I'm 90.
I'm 79 years old. My wife is 72 years old, and we care for Daryl, our son, who has got severe learning disabilities. He's also got autism and pica.
We have Robin, our son, with severe learning disabilities, who's 46.
So I have a son with learning disabilities, and at the moment he's living in Gloucester in residential care.
The issues, what keep me awake at night, is probably the unknown, not knowing what the future holds for our son when we are unable to continue to care, and to be able to, for peace of mind, to be able to get him into a situation whereby he's getting good support while we're still able to help him to get into that situation. But the thing which probably keeps me awake at night more than any other is the county council haven't planned well for people who are still living in a family home in the county, and will at some stage in the next few years need supported living. And will the placements be there? That's the biggest concern.
It was up to that time, about 12 years ago, as I say, the doctor said to me, you need a bit of help. And that's when the carers moved in. So for carers' sake, I had to try and ease things a little bit, gradually break away. I moved out. What is going to happen to her when I'm not around? And as I say, time is short, I'm 90. And I just dread that day, you know, what is going to happen to her. I know her sister will take her on. That's if the authorities agreed to that. I don't know whether they would or not. That is my hope, that she can still stay with her family in her own surroundings that she's familiar with. She's been, you know, all her life she's lived in this area, and I think if they decided to uproot her, it would be traumatic for her. I don't think she would survive. And it worries me that, you know, she might, I shouldn't probably say this, but she might end up like some of the other handicapped people who can't express themselves, who, you know, we've heard about in recent years and that haven't survived.
I worry that if in 30 years' time something happens to me, what will happen to Kevin? I have a daughter, but she has her own family, she has her own problems, and she's even said, Mum, please get Kevin back into Abingdon, Oxfordshire, because if and when something happens to you, I won't have time to go and visit him in Gloucester. And she says, as far as the nighttime visits, they won't be happening because every fortnight Kevin comes home. They won't be happening because there's no bed for him to be in her house. So really that's one of my concerns as to if Kevin is still out of county, what will happen to him when I'm no longer here? If you send him out of county and I'm not a driver and I have to travel by public transport, it's very, very hard for me. And my daughter, I only have the 2 children, and my daughter won't be able to do this if and when anything happens to me. So really, please think very carefully before you send our children out of county.
Rob's siblings can't be doing what we're doing. There's no way, you know, they both got jobs, lives. They will keep an eye, but we're in there all the time, and I've only to knock on that door and open that door, and I know if something's amiss. But they won't have that knowledge. So I think they will keep an eye. I think it's not fair to put pressure on them. They probably will feel pressure anyway, but I don't think it's fair to put pressure on them. I don't know. Yeah. I just think they will keep an eye, but but they won't be able to. I think things will have happened before they get to know, whereas quite often we see it coming, you know.
Well, I just hope, I know she won't be to have the same carers forevermore, but I just hope that they will leave her be in her own home so that she's visited by her family or otherwise go to live with her family so that she's not uprooted. I mean, to uproot her at 64 years old, take her away from everything she's known, even her cat, which she loves, you know, she wouldn't survive. She wouldn't survive at all, that. And I think they've got to look at that side of things instead of just saying, oh, we'll put her away, it's cheaper to put her away. They've got to not look at the money side of it, they've got to look at how it's going to affect the client and their future.
My daughter will take an interest, obviously, in Daryl, and but what I don't want to happen is I don't want him to be a burden for my daughter. She lost a lot of things when he was young, a chaotic little boy who didn't know what he was doing, and he's calmed down an awful lot, but I wouldn't want my daughter to have to have Daryl to look after. Myself and my wife are both agreed that Daryl will have to go in supported living, and he'll have to go somewhere and be supported for the rest of his life. But we need that to be the right provider, the right place, within the area where he now lives, with all his friends, and that is, to me, is what I will try to achieve while I'm still able.
I think an advocate would be really nice. It would have to be someone young that knew, that had some knowledge of what we know about Rob. So it's another eye, another ear, you know, when we're not around, or even when we are around and get older and can have less contact, which will come. I mean, Colin's 77 and I'm 70, and someone else to know our situation, you know, and be able to be effective, you know, while we're here and afterwards, you know, just more ears and more eyes. I think you can't have enough ears and eyes.
Maybe even give us advice, eh?
Well, it'd be just nice to offload, wouldn't it, you know, to someone.
I think one of the things that would help a lot in the battles that we face as a family, and everybody faces really, is that the county council had more transparent dialogue with us. They listened to what we're saying, and that they start to plan for this eventual breakdown in care for families. They don't do any long-term planning, and that's what's sadly lacking.
They've a right to a life, whatever their handicap, they've a right to live on this earth and have a decent life as much as possible. And I feel confident that when the time comes and I'm not here, that she will accept it in her little way, you know, and that she'll carry on being looked after. As long as I want them to treat her like they would their own child. You know, how would they feel if it was their own? And that's what I feel. But I still been around. I'm going to be here for a long, long time yet. So, oh, definitely. They'll have to shoot me to get rid of me. They will. I'm not leaving here yet. Not until I know Karen's happy and, you know, is settled.